Hey guys, Mr. Kyle, Myers Mathematics, and let's just jump right into it. So I put all the things that I want to talk about today already in bullets. You can help yourself and read those if you want to pause the video and just kind of take a quick glance at those. They'll also be in the descriptions below. But we're just going to go over those things, and then I'm actually going to show you a couple websites that you can use along with like flashcards and things like that to help you memorize things easily. So there's a lot of videos out there that are much fancier than mine with all the cool graphics and little, I think it's called B-roll. I don't know how to do all that stuff. But here's everything that everybody else talks about and some stuff that I talk about that I've been using with my students as well. And let's just jump right into it. So learn the formulas, definitions, etc. Step one, you got to start somewhere, right? So just learn them. Don't just just like memorize them without any context. If it's like a definition or something, that would be something you would memorize really without context, because something is just a definition because it's a definition. But helping to visualize it is really important. That's what I found with a lot of the research that I was doing, is that if you visualize it, then it helps and you make a story, things like that. So that's actually step 11. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But step one, learn the formulas, definitions, etc., especially for geometry, right? But also for algebra and algebra 2. And actually, this was one of the things I talked about in one of my previous videos, what to ask your teacher. So one of the things you need to ask your teacher is what kinds of formulas are going to be on the test and which ones are not going to be on the test. So only learn the things that you need to learn, which is step 9, kind of jumping around here. Only learn the things that you need to learn. But you need to start with learning the formulas, definitions, etc. You got to learn it first, because in order to memorize something, you can't just, magically wave your wand and make it go here. You have to actually do something with it, right? So learn the stuff, do it smart, right? Don't just kill yourself over writing it out 1,000 times or something like that. Just memorizing it without any context is harder than memorizing it with the context and using some of these other tools. So step 2 is one of the tools. Remember where you learned what you learned. So right now everybody's at home. So look around your room for a second. And excuse me, I have something in my eye. But just go ahead and look around the room for a second, wherever your room is. And picture everything that you see there. So as you learn something new, you can actually picture the room that you're in right now while watching this video, and that will help you to remember a new thing that you've learned. Now, this is even more true if you go to somewhere new. So let's say you really went crazy. Let's say there's like a park that you've never been to, or some sort of restaurant you've never been to or something. Go somewhere new. Go somewhere new that you've never been to before. Within reason, of course. And learn something new in that new place. That would be actually the best way to do this little trick. Remember where you learned the thing that you learned. So if you go to a new place and you learn something new in that new place, let's say you like went to the beach or something and you learned some new thing in math, or you tried to remember this thing in math or whatever, like the quadratic formula, let's say. Well, now what you can do is, when you're trying to remember the quadratic formula, you can picture yourself at the beach or wherever you're at that's new, and that'll actually help you to remember the quadratic formula. So that's really helpful. Number 3, learning things in a new place. Oh, I already talked about that one. Number 4, come back to the material and re-quiz yourself after 20 to 30 minutes, then after an hour, etc. This one's actually really cool. So a couple different videos I was looking at doing research for this video, we're talking about this, and there's some fancy name for it, but if you know me at all, you know I don't like using the fancy names for things. I don't like to use, I don't even say numerator and denominator. I just say top and bottom. I don't like the big fancy, they're unnecessary, which ironically is a large word, but just the really technical stuff, I try to stay away from it. But anyways, you want to do this thing where, like, if you learn the material, right? Like, let's say you memorize the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Boom, you've memorized it. Well, what's going to happen is if you don't touch that formula at all, then tomorrow, 24 hours from right now, you might forget it. If this is like the first time you've remembered the quadratic formula, the first time you've learned it is like right now. 24 hours from now, you probably won't remember it if you don't use it, or if you don't come back to it at all between now and then. It's this principle where basically you need to come back to information in a relatively short amount of time, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and you kind of like taper off, meaning come back to it pretty soon, but then wait a little longer, and then the next time a little longer, the next time, and then eventually you get to where you've memorized said thing completely. So coming back to the quadratic formula, or let's say the area of a kite, 1/2 diagonal 1, diagonal 2, 1/2 times the two diagonals. What you can do is, once you've learned that, area of a kite equals 1/2 diagonal 1, diagonal 2. Okay, all right. And then maybe do a couple practice problems, really let it sink in, And then what you do is, for 30 minutes, I said 20 to 30, that was what they said in the research or whatever, but let's say 30 minutes, make it easy, half an hour. Go do something fun. If you like to skateboard, go for a little skateboard ride. If you like to play video games, play some video games. Or just, have a nice lunch, something that you can take up 30 minutes with. And then come back to it. So the key here is you're not trying to remember it while you're taking this downtime. You're letting your mind chew on it back here in your subconscious. And then you come back to it 30 minutes later and you try to do it again. And if you get it again, awesome. Now wait an hour before you come back to it again. Now, with an hour you can do a lot more. So, you could maybe move on to a different subject in school, as long as it's not like, maybe stay away from the sciences, because they're too close to mathematics, especially physics. Physics and calculus are very similar. So maybe not one of those, but like an English subject or something where you just have to, look at a passage or something for another class. If you need to work on stuff for another class, just stay away from the science. You can do English, social studies, language, those sorts of things. Art would be great. Something where you're using a different part of your brain altogether, because you use kind of your right side of your brain is your imaginative and creative, and then the left side is more the logical. I might have had them mixed around, but I'm pretty sure it's left side and then right side. Left side logic, right side is like fun, whimsical stuff. Ooh. Which I'm not downing, because I want to say I'm both. Like, obviously I'm like a math person, so like the left side is more than the right, but I feel like I'm pretty balanced, like, I don't know. But anyways, what you want to do is you want to memorize the thing, come back to it like 30 minutes later, and then if that worked, awesome. Now don't come back to it until like an hour later. And then if that worked, awesome, double it again. Don't come back to it until 2 hours later. Awesome. If that worked, then at this point, you can maybe do 4 if you really want to push it, like double it again and just keep doubling it. If you really want to, I don't know, go crazy. But eventually, if you keep doubling it, it'll be a lot. It would be, a ridiculous amount. So it depends on how much time you have to study, too. So obviously, if you have a test tomorrow, cram session. Don't cram all night, because getting a good night's sleep is very important. I'm going to talk about that in another video, actually, what to do the day before the test. And hint, spoiler alert, you should get a good night's sleep before the test. Actually, 2 days before the test, would probably be an okay to like have an all-nighter or a cram session or something. But just if you want to, like, you shouldn't just do it and stress yourself out over it, because then you're going to go into the test and have a little bit more stress and more anxious, that sort of stuff. You don't want to go into a test anxious. No bueno. So that's what you do. Taper off. And that can look like a lot of different things. If your test is very soon, then maybe, you know, ramp it up a little bit. Do like 20 minutes and then 40 minutes, and then double that would be 80. So that's an hour and 20 minutes. And just double it from there. You might have to do a little bit of math if you double it from 20, but it's possible. So you can do that. Taper off. I think that's enough about number 4. But it's really, really important. That's why I spent so long on number 4. It's really important to do that because studies show that it works. If you taper off like that, now if you mess up, like let's say like 2 hours later, you don't get it right. You want to go back and just kind of like start from the beginning again until you've got it. So you want to be careful with that, to go back to the beginning if you didn't make it to the next round. Basically, it's like you died, game over, go back to level 1 kind of thing. But anyways, number 5, in between practices. Oh, we already talked about that one. Do something unrelated. Go have fun or do chores. You know, either one. It could be chores, or it could be maybe you're doing fun chores. I don't know. Maybe you like taking out the trash at night. And then number 6 and 7 and 8 are kind of just fun things to do. They're not necessarily as effective as like visualizing what's going on. Visualizing actually helps you to remember something better than just like creating little like auditory things. But if you are musically inclined, or if you like to listen to music when you study and things like that, even if you're just an appreciator of the arts, you just like music, like me. I like music, but I can't sing at all. Like I'm a terrible singer. Like I'm not monotone when I sing, but it's pretty bad. One of those people like if you're driving by on the road and you're like, is that guy singing and he's like jamming out right now? Or like, is he even like that? He should probably be watching the road. I'm watching the road. I promise. I'm just jamming to like Lecrae or something. Okay. But yeah, sing it. Whatever the formula is. There is a song for the quadratic formula, and it's great. It's by this one guy. He's like a one-hit wonder on YouTube. He has like, I think like 400 subscribers, which to be fair, at the time of me making this video, I have like 40. So, but he, his YouTube channel has been around for like a long time, so I feel like if I was around as long as him, I would have at least 400 subscribers too, but we'll see. So anyways, he has a really great video. I forgot his name, but look it up. Just type in quadratic formula song. And all he does is just sing it and then like chorus it. Like he just like plays it over his own voice and sings it in a slightly different pitch or whatever. And it's like the Jack in the Box thing. And he sings it. And it's great because it helps you to remember it. I mean, I don't use it. I just kind of do it because I use it all the time. Right? So if you use it, then you don't lose it. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's true. Which is why you need to remember what you're doing after 20 to 30 minutes and all that. So back to step 4 there. But yeah, sing it, drop a beat, do a little instrumental with the formula, like do something and tie it to the formula, especially if you're musically inclined, and then making it sound funny. This is actually kind of dipping into the visual thing. So the cool thing is you can actually make a story out of it. And I'll save that for 11, I guess, but I kind of already talked about it, so I might as well go ahead and talk about it now. Make a story out of the thing. Like one of the YouTube videos I was looking at, they were talking about doing this, and basically it's like you're given like 10 random things, and you're supposed to remember them all. And the trick to it is make a story out of the 10 random things. So this is, that example is obviously just for, like just memorizing contests, which by the way are a thing. People just memorize stuff for fun to compete against each other. Yeah, I mean, we've got like 7 billion people, so people have to be good at, everything, right? So memorizing stuff just to memorize stuff apparently is a thing. I mean, they could be doing worse things with their time, right? But yeah, so these expert memorizer people, that's actually what they do, is they make a story out of it. And they do this really fancy thing that's like Inception level stuff where they create a mind palace. It's literally called a mind palace. You go into your mind and you create little pictures and stories of like what's going on with these words and stuff. So you can do something like that. And it's actually really, really helpful. So if you're able to think of like negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, or how about this, going back to number 8, making it sound funny, pi r squared, right? The area of a circle. It's a pi that r squared. Yuck, 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 yuck. So, just anything that you can do to make it sound funny, so make it stick. So you can literally think of like a square pie. Like if you can imagine a square pie, like technically pizza is a pie, which means I really like pie. So a square pizza pie, just imagine that. And it's like that nice thin crust, extra pepperoni and all that. And it's like, it's just like, it's a square pizza. That's the area of a circle. So imagine a nice square pizza. And in fact, you know what? You should treat yourself and you should order one from like Domino's or whoever sells them, okay? Just anybody. You could go local even, support your local business and go buy yourself a square pizza. And that way, when you get this pizza and they deliver it to you, and you spray it down with sanitizer or whatever because you don't want to catch the Rona, then you get this pizza out, and I want you to look at the pizza and be like, this is the area of a circle. It's pi r squared, right? And that's how you remember things. You make it fun. You tie something to it. It's like you can smell the pizza and it smells so good and you can't wait to eat this pizza because it's so amazing. And that's the area of a circle. It's a pi that r squared. And then you get it. And then you'll never forget the area of a circle formula ever again. Never, ever. Because it'll make you think of wonderful, wonderful, amazing pizza. If you haven't guessed, pizza is my favorite food. So anyways, that brings us to number 9, only learn what you need to. So this kind of brings me back to this other video just a couple days ago that I posted on what to ask your teacher. If there's a formula sheet and on that formula sheet they have like, a bunch of really good formulas that you can use, hopefully they have all the useful ones, but usually they don't. Because that would make way too much sense. Because in real life, we have Google and we can look up all the formulas. But anyways, if you have, let's say for geometry, you have sine, cosine, and tangent, you don't need to remember SOHCAHTOA, right? Some old horse caught another horse taking oats away, right? Fun little acronyms to remember the letters. You don't need to do SOHCAHTOA. If they give you sine, cosine, and tangent, don't waste your time remembering the acronym for SOHCAHTOA if they give you the formulas for it, right? So be smart about it. Like don't just memorize all the things, okay? Because the thing is, like, your brain will forget things, and sometimes you get frustrated when you forget things, but your brain is forgetting them because it didn't think they were important. And you subconsciously then didn't think they were important because it's your brain. So if it is important, if you want it to be important, even though really you don't care, because honestly, like after, algebra, it's like geometry and then algebra 2 and pre-calc. If you're not really going to do math related stuff, like if you're not going to be an engineer or something like that, like you're not really going to use a lot of this stuff. To be honest, teachers are always like, oh, but in real life you could do this and then you could use it. Well, no. who's going to measure? No, you would just like Google it or something, So a lot of this stuff, that's why you're going to forget, is because it's not that important. But you have to trick yourself into thinking it's important. So only learn things that you need to learn. Be smart. Don't learn useless stuff. If it's on the formula sheet, don't bother. Or if it's something that your teacher is like, hey, like if they bring this up on the test, they're going to give you the conversion for it in the problem. So if that's true, you don't need to like memorize how to go up and down the metric conversions, which is pretty easy. You just multiply by 10 or divide by 10 until you get to the thing. But if they give you the conversion, you don't really need to waste your time with that either. Even though it's not that hard, anything that they're going to give you as a conversion or a definition or a formula, don't memorize it if they're giving it to you. If you know it's going to be on that formula sheet. Okay. And then, so that's actually number 9 and number 10, I just realized, are like exactly the same thing. So that actually brings us to the end of the list, but not the end of the video. I wanted to show you a couple websites that are helpful. You might already know about these if you are an awesome person, and I know you are. So you probably already know about one of these, but I want to talk about 2 of them, and actually 3 things altogether if you want to just straight up memorize things like definitions, because definitions are just it is what it is. It's defined as blah, 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 like an equilateral triangle, right? That has a definition. You just memorize the definition. You can like do a word breakdown, like equa means equal, lateral means like the sides, like your lats, you got to work out your lats. But really, it's just a definition. You're just going to have to know it. You can make a picture out of it. You can do all this other stuff. But if you just want to know stuff straight up using the old-fashioned note cards, there's actually a couple different note cards that you can use. If you're not wanting to go to the Publix, then, because they have 3x5s or Staples, or any of those other stores, then you can make 3x5s online, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So you could make 3x5s in in person by hand, and then you can flip them. And if you get a partner, aka your younger brother or sister, older brother or sister, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, some person randomly on the street who doesn't have the Rona. Actually, probably don't do that. You right now, like if you're watching this like a year from now when we've got the cure to the Rona, then go do that. Like go hang out with a friend or stranger danger. But right now the Rona is still happening, so social distancing, do all the things. I gotta say that because I don't want to be politically correct. But if you don't want 3x5s written down, if you're not I want to write this out, you can still type it out. You're still working your fingers doing this online. And a lot of them actually are built in for you. So let's just go ahead and look at those 2 real quick. And they are 1, Studyblue. So I just logged in, created a new account. I had an old account, but I forgot which email I used to sign up for it. And I don't care about all the cards that I had on there. Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I'll go check them out. But I'm going to sign up as a teacher. Welcome, Kyle. And what school do I teach at? All right, this is gonna take forever. Is it gonna take forever? I don't know. Let's say the school I teach at is Myers. I almost misspelled my own name. Did you see that? Myers. Oh, I almost hit Myers again. Mathematics. Yeah, Myers Mathematics. Wait, it went away. All right, this is dumb. So anyways, you go to Studyblue, and let's see if I can just go studyblue.com. All right, it's just doing that again. All right, this is dumb. Studyblue is officially dumb. It used to be a great website. It was the first one I heard about before Quizlet, and then Quizlet happened, and now Studyblue is just dumb. I liked it also because blue is my favorite color. But look, all right, so I already have this one logged into my account. I've got a few different classes here. I also use it for my own personal studies. So like this one, I just did a Bible class at my church, knowing the Bible story, so it has all those on there. And then I also use it for remembering verses and stuff. So if you want to grab the verses that I'm studying, they're all like really, really super helpful verses in the Bible. So if you want those shared with you, go ahead and just leave me a comment in below and I'll send those to you. But like this Calc 2 final exam review, I'm working on that. It's only got 9 terms. I'm still working on it. GED math, 22 terms. Just some good stuff to know for taking the GED math portion, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm not working on it too much because, memorizing stuff, just rote memorization is not super, super helpful. So I don't spend a whole lot of time on Quizlet, but except for my own personal studies. But yeah, so those are the 2 that I want to talk about, and that's pretty much it for today. So this has been Mr. Kyle Myers Mathematics. If you have not got my free guide, it's awesome. You should get it. If it's free, it's for me. It is called The 5 Math Mistakes Everyone Makes and How to Avoid Them. And it's on my website, myersmathematics.com. It's going to help you to never make a math mistake again. That's the slogan, at least. It's super catchy. Obviously, if you don't implement everything exactly, then it's not going to work. And there are more ideals than a magic formula, because there is no magic formula to just never miss a math problem. The ideals that are in it, it starts off really specific and gets more vague as it goes, with the 5th math mistake being the most vague of them all, kind of over-encompassing, which is why I can say that there's exactly 5 things, because obviously there's a million math classes you can take. So I've got it narrowed down into 5 things, and the last of them is a little bit more on the vague side, but very helpful information. And you can actually look up more information on it, but I give some detailed explanation for each one. It's just a free PDF. It's awesome. You should grab it. And as always, if this video has been helpful, go ahead and smash the like button. If you want to see more of this test prep series, then I advise you to subscribe and turn on notifications. And I will see you in another episode very soon.